It's like, yeah. And I remember we got off the plane, and we got off the plane, and I'm standing there waiting for the rest of the other managers um, that were on the same flight as me, because I was actually getting a ride home from one of them, because he literally lives just down the road from me, and I'm sitting there waiting for him to get off the flight, and one of the other managers who was on the flight with us, he's like pale, and he's an experienced flyer, and he doesn't have a fear of flying, but he's actually pale, and he actually said, like, he goes, I honestly thought we might die. And I'm like, yeah, that thought crossed my mind too. It's definitely the scariest flight I've ever been on, like, because something actually did almost go wrong, you know. um I've been scared on other flights, not like that, like, because when I've been scared before, it's just because of turbulence or whatever, and it's like, the plane starts shaking a lot because it's heavy turbulence, but there was never any danger, like any real danger. It's just turbulence. Turbulence is turbulence. It happens. It's bound to happen, right? You're flying in a metal tube at like, what, 600 plus kilometers per hour. you know, Obviously, there's going to be turbulence, air pockets and stuff, right? So it's not, you know, it goes with the territory. Sure, it's still scary for somebody like me who doesn't like the idea of flying to begin with. Yeah, no, it's like, I don't know. Like, so next year when we have to fly again, yeah, I know a lot of people. My dad loves flying. My dad used to have to fly for his work. My dad worked for Canada Post for years. To the He was actually he actually was the head of Canada Post at one point. The only person he answered to was the actual federal government. Um, but just before he got that position, like, one of the last things he did before he got that position and the thing was he was in charge of streamlining all the operations across Canada. So he used to have to. He mostly worked out of Ottawa, so like, for a couple, almost a year or 2 years almost, he would be in Ottawa all week, and he would only come home on the weekends. Um, and then they started flying him out to other places. So like he'd have a week in Vancouver, a week in Calgary, a week in Edmonton, a week in Manitoba, in like Winnipeg, a week out in St. John's, New Brunswick, and so on, right? Like, all over the country. And yeah, he loved flying. Like, he tells me that all the time too. Like, when I was telling him about when I had to fly for the first time for our managers conference, and I'd flown only once before. Sorry, twice before that. We flew to Ottawa when I was a kid to go visit my dad while he was working in Ottawa, because it was the March break. So we went out there and stayed with him out in Ottawa for the week. And so yeah, like, my mom, my brothers, and we all got on a flight, flew out to Ottawa, stayed with my dad, who had to work and so forth, and my mom took us around and went to the museums and so forth. It was fun. I loved it. Um, but the flight sucked. I hated the flight. And even though, again, it's only about an hour flight to Ottawa. Um, but my and then I had to fly again out west to Saskatchewan, obviously for my brother's wedding, as I mentioned before. And I was terrified that whole flight. I was sitting in between my brother and my cousin, Craig, and my brother wouldn't stop making fun of me. Greg didn't say much, but he was laughing when my brother Jim, would make jokes and so forth. But anyways, yeah, so I hated that. Had to fly back home for that. Hated it, but the flight was fine. Like I just hated it. And I remember my dad even saying back then, because they were on the same flight there with us and so forth, and my dad was like, "Oh, flying's great." My dad was so relaxed. He's just sitting there in his chair. I think he fell asleep, probably. Knowing my dad, he falls asleep at the drop of a hat. And yeah, it was that's my dad, you know, like he loves it. He thinks flying's great. I get reminded all the time that flying's safer than driving and all that stuff, and it's like, yeah, I get that, but when I'm driving, I'm in control of the vehicle. I'm not in control of this plane hurtling through the air. Um, Although I don't know that I'd feel better about it if I was. But anyways, um, oh yeah, believe me, I distract the crap out of myself now on flights. I'll watch movies. Um, I'll take my Switch with me. I'll play the Switch. I'll have movies on my iPad, um, where I'll be reading something. I try to distract myself as much as possible. If I'm sitting next to somebody I know, which does happen often, that's all right too. Um, there was a female manager on the same flight as us. Her name's Rachel. Uh, her and I have always gotten along really well, and she doesn't work for the company anymore. But her and I were sitting next to each other on the same flight, and apparently she's more afraid of flying than I am. And like she even jumped like when the plane touched the ground, right? Like when the plane comes in and the wheels touch the ground, and there's like kind of that momentary like as the wheels hit the ground. She she jumped just from that alone, and like she was like literally like grabbing at me like like somehow like holding on to me was somehow going to save her if we crashed or something. I made a joke about like when did that. I made a joke about like in some countries now we'd be legally married for grabbing me like. um yeah. But it was a good flight overall. We actually played Switch together, and so far I pulled out my Switch. We played some Mario Kart and stuff like that on the flight. So uh, it was fine. I don't think this Aki or whatever it is has been here yet. They're at the top of the queue. But yeah, no, I distract myself as much as possible now on flights. You have to, because if you don't, yeah, I'd go insane. Um, I can't sleep on a flight though. I mean, first of all, nobody would want me to. I've got sleep apnea. I snore like if I start snoring, neighbors 3 blocks away would be able to hear me. Um, so I'm certainly not going to fall asleep and start snoring on a plane. I'm very subconscious about that too. Um, so, oh, thank you for the follow. Well, I can probably understand that. I mean, I don't know. My wife doesn't. My wife doesn't has never flown. I don't know how she would feel about flying, honestly. Well, I know she doesn't want to. Like the idea of flying terrifies her. Um, the idea of flying terrifies her as it is, so I can't see her ever getting on a plane. When we went to Florida, we drove, so um, which was fine, anyways. Like, Thank you for the follow. Yeah, I don't. So I don't think I don't think she would. Hello, hello. Kiki isn't there. Yeah, no, I don't know that she would do well with flying anyways, because she suffers from migraines and stuff. So I don't know that she would do well with flying. All right, so Lulu is left, and I think Lynn left too, right? Or has Lynn even? I don't know anymore. Lulu is gone. And I feel like Lynn left. I feel like Lynn's been there and left. I see my stream's getting choppy. Allegedly. Okay, so Jay is leaving. It's been 30 minutes. You haven't shown up, so you're gone. And Jay's gone. Yeah, no. The only thing that was a little on the terrifying side on our road trip to Florida. Actually, this was on the way home. This was not actually on the way there. Um, so it was myself, my wife, our two kids, and my mother-in-law that went on this trip. My mother-in-law had booked hotels all the way down, so we knew exactly where we had to get to each day. You know, and okay, so we're gonna stay at this Comfort Inn. We're gonna stay at this Holiday Inn. You know, whatever, right? We knew where we had to go. Um, so, and that was fine for the way down there. Get to Florida, we had booked to stay in Disney at one of the resorts. I don't remember which one now. Brain's gone blank. But anyways, the on the way back though, my mother-in-law decided we didn't need to book hotels for the way back. So we would drive so far, decide, okay, we've driven far enough for the day. We'd get off the interstate, find a nearby hotel, book a room, stay. And for the most part, it was fine. But we stopped in West Virginia. And for some reason, the closest motel, hotel, whatever, was like a bit of ways off the interstate, which is fine. So we drive down this, couple roads or whatever. It's in the city, like you're in the city, and we get to this motel. The next morning, we're leaving, and my mother-in-law insists that it's definitely this way to get back to the interstate. Like, all right. So I'm driving, I follow her direction, and I start driving to this hotel, or to the back to the interstate, or at least I think I am. Only to find out we're driving deeper and deeper into the backwoods of West Virginia, and the number of Confederate flags and other, uh, let's say, not so friendly signs and flags everywhere was a little scary. And it was like, I don't think this is the neighborhood we want to be driving through. And like, it was like, again, it was literally like out in the sticks, right? You know, like, you know, what you would imagine the backwoods of America to be. That's what it was. And, yeah, but, you know, we got through there anyways and found our way back on the interstate and whatever. But it was like, yeah, this probably see, the thing is, probably what I should have done in hindsight, although my mother-in-law didn't want me to do this for some reason, because we were using her vehicle, because she has like a big SUV, and she's got like the GPS map right into the dashboard and so forth. It doesn't cost anything. I should have just typed our home address in, and it probably would have got me back to the interstate faster, and probably in a more direct route than driving through the entire backwoods of West Virginia. Like, I believe, I could be wrong. I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure we actually got on the interstate in the next state. I don't think we were even still in West Virginia when we got in on the interstate again. Let's see how many of my DIYs are missing now. About the same, but this was almost full. This was probably where the last row was here, and it was full left to right all the way to about this row. The concept of a take a DIY, leave a DIY. Oh crap, I didn't notice more people have been leaving flowers. That's cool. I'm surprised I only have one person on the island and only one person currently in line right now. But yeah, my wife and I are wanting to go to Florida again at some point. The plan was to probably go for like our 25th wedding anniversary, which is in less than 2 years now. I don't know if we currently would be able to even afford to go at this point. But we'll see. Do 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 do. Yeah. Uh, 2 more days till Christmas. 2 more working days till Christmas. Assuming, of course. It's been nice talking with you, man. Have a good night. Merry Christmas to you, and yeah. Hopefully you can join us again another time. Have a good night, and have a safe trip to Japan, too. right. Do 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 do. Go deposit some monies. Money, 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 money. Green. I do need the purple hyacinths. Alright, it's probably going to happen soon. My daughter's probably going to come downstairs to say goodnight to me. When that happens, I do turn off the camera and the microphone temporarily. Rest assured, we need to be back on camera and mic relatively quick. Yellow. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Just got the island open, letting people sell some turnips if they need to, because the price is pretty decent, $4.35. And some people have been nice enough to provide me with some of the flowers I still require to finish my little project. Let's add one gold rose, so I still need 3 more. And 1 green mum, so I still need 3 more of those. What are you up to this evening? There we go. Now we're getting the notifications that tell me that I've dropped frames. It actually looked like I was dropping frames earlier. Now it actually tells me I'm dropping frames. Oh, yeah. Oh, here comes my daughter. Yeah, the AI art programs seem to be all the rage right now. I see the all the different ones that people are doing on their social medias, and there's like that one trend with the oh my god, the anime one. Don't know why I tried to say anything else. Clearly, I can't speak. It was actually funny. I was on my break at work, and I saw the anime one that's on TikTok that people keep using, and so I used it on me. And again, I look like this, right? Light facial hair, very short hair, kind of balding on the top of the head. And the picture I got back just made me howl because it was literally um, no facial hair whatsoever, clean shaven, and really long blonde hair. I was like, not sure where you got the blonde hair from, but okay. I'm going to use this piece of paper. I've seen a couple like that. Yeah, I was goofing around with one just on my phone the other day, and kind of the same idea. Wow, that's crazy. So with that person gone, there is now no one in line. Is it past everyone's bedtime? Like, nice. Wow, I can't believe that there's nobody currently on my island right now, and there's nobody currently in line. We've had a steady line pretty much non-stop since I opened the island, and now it's done. I do not need any of these flowers. Again, the concept went over people's heads, apparently. I didn't need those, but I do need the other ones. Let's see. If I could just get that last rock to spawn right here. Apparently I can't spoke. Somebody picked the flower tops of some of my flowers. Good thing they'll all grow back. Oh. Hey, there's a lost item here. We should try to return it to its owner. This pouch is stuffed with some delicious full of sugar. That's gotta be Sherb.